It becomes not entirely explicit or distinct what it is that the body seems to be doing on its own and what it is that you, as in your mind and your intention, are doing.
Hi, I'm Grant Kleiman from Darsana Martial Arts. Welcome to the channel. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe, share comments below, and if you'd like to support us or join our online academy, there are links in the description.
So Gabriella, I think you were just explaining how, as you were trying to do silk grilling movements, and you were trying to kind of understand Dantian rotation and the way that the hips and the waist interact to create this rotational movement, and then how that spirals through the body. You felt yourself that you were trying to do it. You wanted to make it happen, right? So in a way you could say that the mind, through the muscles, were sort of grabbing onto the bones and trying to move the structure around, yeah? This is a big part of understanding the role of the mind and its relationship to the body in this practice. So when we do that, we are dictating to our body what it's going to do. And we're not listening, right? We're not applying the principle of ting, which is this depth of attention, this suffusing of the mind into the body, and a very careful attending to every little thing that we're feeling within the framework of our principles of alignment and release. Without the principles of alignment and release, without knowing those, listening to the body doesn't necessarily produce understanding. You know, in other words, if you were listening to someone but you didn't speak their language, it wouldn't matter how careful you listen to them. You don't know what they're saying. However, if you do know the language, now you get the meaning of what they're saying. So it's the same thing between the mind and the body. We have to listen. And the act of listening is a big part of what allows us to release and align the body. And at the same time, on some level, releasing and aligning the body helps us to listen better. It turns off the noise that we create with the mind, which often expresses itself as tension. That becomes like a static noise and we can't hear the body. So the first part of getting anything we're doing here, Dantian rotation, silk reeling, Fa Jin, all of that has to come from a relinquishing of a kind of sense of control of making things happen, right? All of that has to come from letting go of grabbing onto the body and moving it. And it has to start becoming a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more about listening to what the body wants to do in order to align and release through a movement. So this is exactly what you were kind of grasping, is that, oh, if I let go more and I listen and I start to do some movement and I continue to attend to the various alignment and release points and principles in the body wants to move a certain way. And I start to get in touch with that current. I can feel where it wants to go. And then that part of me that wants to do things now can follow the body. And so it becomes not entirely explicit or distinct what it is that the body seems to be doing on its own and what it is that you, as in your mind and your intention, are doing. And now you are interacting with something, if you will, of nature within yourself, right? So now you're learning to go along with it, and it's learning in a way to go along with you, because the movement is an intention. You decide, I want to go here, but the way in which you do that movement depends upon how the body returns to Wu Ji and vector equilibrium. And so we have to understand that in Tai Chi, the way that the body interacts with the mind and the way the mind interacts with the body has to begin through a kind of awareness. So we have these two sides to the mind, and I think this is going to end up leading into what you said, Patty. We have these two sides to the mind, and we could call them maybe intention and attention, right? The sort of yang and yin, respectively. And if you think about the form as a series of intentions, I'm going to move this way, I'm going to move that way, I'm going to send force out this way, I'm going to split the force in this direction, I'm going to draw the force in this way, right? This is essentially what it is, and sometimes I think of it almost like brush strokes of force in the air. Then those are intentions. The whole form is a series of intentions. But on the other end of that, the mind has to listen to the body, and it has to attend to, if you will, the wu-ji of the body, right? The way in which the body, throughout all those intentions, is finding equilibrium in all of the forces going on that both generate that intention, while at the same time always returning the body to equilibrium within the wake of that intention. And so Patty said that when the body wanted to move a certain way, and she was trying to make it move a particular way, maybe that she thought it was supposed to.
I just didn't want to relax too much because my legs were already on.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a problem. So she didn't want to release and relax more because her legs were already burning, and she knew that letting go more was going to make them burn worse. And so she didn't want to do that. But when she didn't do that, her shoulder hurt. And so she released whatever that pressure that was causing the discomfort in your shoulder went away. Yeah, probably went to the legs, but it went away. And so this further emphasizes the point that when we enforce our own idea on the body, and we insist on things being one certain way, and we're not listening to the body, this is where we run into conflict. This is where we run into opposition in ourselves. We're literally at cross purposes with ourselves. And so oftentimes our sense of stress, whether it be physical stress and discomfort or mental, emotional stress or discomfort, it really just comes from, and this would be sort of along the lines of Monk Yenro's door number 1, being excessively yang. It comes from trying to insist on things being a particular way or not being a particular way, or trying to enforce some change that isn't in alignment with what's going on. And so this idea, this principle of Ting, of listening deeply, is to first feel and understand what's going on. Sometimes I like to think about Tao as this sort of great cosmic river that everything is within. Most of us go through life and move and think and interact completely unconscious and unattending to the currents of this river. Instead, we're just focused on all the different stuff in it. We're focused on the things that we want and the things that we want to avoid. And so we're chasing the things we want, and we're trying to avoid the things that we don't want. And oftentimes this puts us at odds or in opposition to the current. If, however, we stop, and this is the first part, you have to stop. There's a reason we start in Wu-Ji every time. You have to cease action, cease doing. Wu-Wei, non-doing. Well, before you can get to Wu-Wei, you have to stop. You have to do the non part first before you can reintroduce a doing that doesn't force or insist. So you stop. And when you stop, you pay attention. You ting. And if you just sit there and pay attention long enough and listen closely enough, you start to feel the current of the river. You realize something is already happening that you're not making happen, but that you are a part of. And so is everything else. And you listen, and it's not always easy, because there's this part of us that goes, no, you gotta go, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta go get that, you gotta get away from this. And it is a loud voice. It's a scared voice. It's an ambitious voice. It's the voice of the ego, if you will. And it has been keeping you alive all your life. And it is on top of things. And it's on top of you, on your back. And so you got to go, wait, let me just see what's going on here. Something else is happening. This is different. And then you start to recognize and feel the currents, and you let them take you for a while. And you let yourself be a little bit surprised by where they go. This is the release. And all of a sudden, a part of your body moves in a way it never moved before. And you're like, I didn't even know that I had a part that could move there. Things release and let go and move in the body that feel new and strange. And that can be mentally uncomfortable. That can make you even panic sometimes. Oh, that's not supposed to happen, is it? That's not me. What's going on? But you let it happen. And you let it take you for a while. And then you start to move with it. This is kind of to your point, Gabriella. You start to go again, but now where you go is an attempt to follow that current a bit, to not oppose it, but to go in the directions that it leads you, at least to not oppose its directions. And you do this, and the more you do it, and the better you get at it, the better you listen, and the more you learn how to swim along with the current, the more you start to realize that many of the things you were pursuing and many of the things you were avoiding were the wrong things to pursue and the wrong things to avoid. That really, this is healthier. And it will surprise you at first, but you'll start to feel better about what you're doing and where you're going, right? Your shoulder will stop hurting, even though it creates discomfort in the legs. The discomfort in the legs is the discomfort of work and change, and the discomfort that left the arm was the discomfort of going against yourself. That's how we discover this in the body, but it applies to everything. And as we keep going, it becomes clearer and clearer that going with the current of the river is the way to go. And we feel we do less and less, and it does more and more. But then something interesting happens. Over the course of refining that, listening more deeply and letting the river take you where it's going and following it and kind of going along with it, what you're doing and what the river's doing, you're swimming in its current, start to be indistinguishable from each other. And you begin to realize you are the river. So is everything else. You are its current, and its power becomes your power. Not a power that you can wield for egotistical ends, but a power that allows you to do without effort, to seem to do nothing, yet everything is done, or nothing is left undone, like it says in the Tao. That's what it's talking about. And in our bodies, it's like, I want things to go this way, and things want to go this way in this manner, and I do that. I follow, I listen to that. So my intentions and the body's way of doing that, and the way that gravity and ground and all the various forces move and the mind's intention become one harmonious thing. This is the path of the practice. Don't feel daunted by that. Don't feel like, oh my God, am I ever going to get there? Kind of doesn't matter. If you're moving in that direction, it's better than moving in the other direction. So the more you do that, just the better things get. Because I don't know that there is a getting there. It's just a more and more and more and more. A better and better and better and better. There's no arrival, ultimate. It would kind of suck if you think about it. I have arrived. Now what? Pizza? You know, it's like, no, you keep going. So we're going to do the form, and I just want you to kind of play with this idea and try to just feel a way through the movements to release and follow.